Hello everyone, I hope you're having a lovely day. The sun has come out here, which is so very welcomed. It's been quite a grey, gloomy week, so it's really lovely. So today I'm going to be demonstrating our other spring wreath, which is the Featherington wreath. So I would say this wreath is very much sums up kind of the idea of Easter and spring, got touches of yellow in it, and it's super lovely. So I'm looking forward to demonstrating it with you today. As with the Bridgerton wreath, I'm working again on the grapevine base. This is 40 centimetres, and the very first step is to attach your string to the top. So all we need to do is simply tie a knot at the top, and you can leave these loose if you want to tie it onto a door handle, or if you've got a little hook, you can simply just tie a knot like that. And then a good idea is to get all your ingredients ready. These wreaths probably take between 10 and 12 clusters. So I think a really nice idea is actually to sort of prep everything and get all your bunches together before you start. That will be a longer process, but quite a fun one as well to get your bunches together. But I think once they're all out, you'll be able to attach them instead of stopping and starting. I'm going to just do mine as I go along, just for demonstration purposes. So with this wreath, we're using two different types of eucalyptus. So we've got a slightly smaller leaf one, and then the silver dollar, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So I'm going to start with the silver dollar. So you want to make sure that the stems of everything are nice and clean, that there's nothing on them. So sort of a size like this is really great. And then the other ingredients that we have, so we have some wheat, which is great. It's lovely to, I mean, all of these ingredients that we're using, they're all dried, or the eucalyptus is fresh at the moment, but it will dry, it will become slightly like a crispy texture. I love it. I have loads of eucalyptus drying in my house all the time, so it's great. I'm going to take another one of these again, just removing any leaves, so we've got a nice clean stem. And then I'm going to take some of the limonium or sea lavender, a nice cheerful bunch like that. And then I'm going to take a daisy. Just be careful with the daisies, they are delicate, they're probably the most delicate thing here. And the first thing you're going to do is you can take your wire, so you should have some real wire here, and you're just going to attach it to your frame, and you can do that by wrapping it around and then pushing the end into the wreath. If you want to make it extra secure, just wrap it around one of the vines and give it a good tug. And then you want to start to layer up your clusters. It's always a good idea, I think, to kind of, you've got big bits of foliage like the silver dollar, it's quite nice if that's at the bottom. It kind of gives it a good sort of background. And then we're going to just start to add the other little bits. So a cluster about that size is great. So if at the beginning, like I said, if you make about 10 to 12, all different ones, roughly that size, kind of the size of your hand, that would be a great starting point. We're going to work at the top of the wreath. Okay, so if you've made a Christmas wreath before, it's very similar, but you're going to take your first cluster and you're going to bring the stems. First of all, you're going to overlap the string so we can't see it, and then you're going to bring your stems towards the center of your wreath frame, and then your flowers are coming out, so very much going in that angle. And then you're going to take your wire. Ooh, it's quite hard to demonstrate it when you're like upside down. Let's give it a go. And then you're going to go around once, pulling it really tight, and another time. I find going around about 3 times is probably a good one. And there it's on. And then what you can do, because what tends to happen when you pull the wire really tight, the flowers start to bunch together. So simply just fan them out like so, and then suddenly your bunch will feel much bigger. And then we're going to do the next one. And again, if you've already prepped them, you can just take your next cluster. So we've got here some dried gypsophilia. I love dried gypsophilia. I much prefer it to when it's actually fresh. I don't really know why. I just think it's just super, super pretty. Take some of that. And then if you keep using the silver dollar, you can just keep cutting down the stem like that to make a little sprig. We've got some lavender, which smells amazing, very calming, which we all need at the moment. So I'm just going to put a little sprig like that on there. So quite different to my first one. And then with your second, you want to add it on in exactly the same way. So stems coming in towards the center of your wreath, flowers coming on the outer, but you want to make sure that you cover up the mechanics of your previous one. Don't get them so tight that you're literally putting them on top of each other, but just sort of leave enough space so you're not covering too much, but just make sure that all of that wire from the previous one is completely covered. And again, we're going to go around once, pulling really tight, and once more. Fan your ingredients out. Starting to look really lovely already. Go for another one. And I think with these daisies, they're so lovely. You can just, if you just take one of them off your branch, it just adds such a lovely feeling of sort of spring meadow to your wreath. So again, adding in exactly the same way, going in at that angle, and then going over the stems to secure them. So that's 3 clusters done. So I'm going to pause the video and add a little bit more, so I'm nearly towards the end. So I'll see you in a little bit. So as you can see, I've carried on adding more clusters all the way around. I'm really loving all the different textures and little bits, and it's smelling really good as well. So I've just got 2 more clusters that I'm going to add on. So again, carrying on adding in exactly the same way, bringing my stems towards the center of the wreath, going over 3 times, and then giving a quick fan out. And then for my last one, just get these together. So adding on in the same way. Just going over the ends with your wire, pulling it really tight. And at this point, it's a good idea, once you've sort of added all your flowers to half of the wreath, give it a little shake and make sure that everything is really secure, because obviously the weather at the moment isn't calm. So if it's windy, you don't want anything falling off outside, and it's better it falls off at this stage and you can go over with your wire. But once you're happy that everything is secure, just take your scissors and cut the end of the wire. And then what you need to do is you need to poke the end of your wire into your wreath frame. And I think even if you can, which should be very doable on these wreaths, is just to wrap it, the end, round one of the vines, so it's completely secure, like so. And then the last thing to do, again, just if you want to, you can keep playing with it, which is just nice. So keep fanning it out, and then you want to take your ribbon, and then all you want to do is put your ribbon underneath where the wire is, Bring up the two ends so they're together. Go over and just tie it so it's covering all of those mechanics. And then to make your bow, you simply want to do one loop on one side, bring this around, bring the end through to create your bow. And then, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist with bows, I kind of play with them for quite a while. So you want to kind of make sure that it's nice and neat. If you've got any material scissors around, it's quite a good idea to just give the ends a nice trim so that they're even. But there you have it. There is your Featherington wreath. I think it's very lovely. It's really beautiful, all ready to hang. These are better suited to being outside. They'll just dry much quicker if they're inside. But yes, I hope you have enjoyed watching it and enjoyed creating your own. And if you're keen, and if you haven't purchased one and you're keen to get one, then there are a few left on the website. So pop on over and have a look. Have a wonderful day.